At the break of dawn, in the middle of the Arizona desert, a crowd of strangers meet for one purpose.
You guys coming out here to help me out, I really appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
To help another stranger, a father desperately searching for his 24-year-old son, Daniel Robinson.
Since he was a child, he liked to challenge everything.
He was born with a challenge.
And I wanted to introduce him to prosthetics because he's born one hand. We quickly learned that that's something that Daniel didn't want. He let nothing stop him. He decided to be a geologist once he got into freshman year in college. He excelled that. He graduated with honors.
Daniel's first job is checking the viability of water wells in the Arizona desert.
He loved this area, of course, because of the rock formation. You're a geologist, this is the best place to be.
But the terrain became a hellscape for his dad when Daniel went missing back in June from his job site. And what number search is this?
This is search number 14.
Navigating the dangers in the desert, the Army veteran knows firsthand time is of the essence.
When I called the Buckeye Police Department, they told me that I had to wait an extra 3 hours because they had a 12-hour, report time when you can say a person is missing. Then I called them back and put in a missing person report. I got very worried. That's when I got very worried. I asked the Buckeye Police Department to go out and search that area. The officer told me that they were going to send a vehicle out there, a helicopter out to search for him. I was relieved. And then he called back an hour later and said, no, it was a no-go. I'm his dad, and he's my son. I've lost all sense of reality. At that moment, I said, you know what? They're not going to look for my son. I'm going to have to do it myself.
Before he arrived, police did decide to search on foot and with helicopters. This is the last place your son was seen?
The last place.
What do you think happened, David?
I think a lot happened here. I'm very suspicious.
But he doesn't know what. A month in, there's a break in the case, and police call Robinson.
I got afraid, actually, that it's going to be some bad news. He said, no, we just found his vehicle.
Some ranchers found it, and then at that point, we conducted our investigation and additional searches.
What was the condition of the car? If it had rolled over, it sounds like it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the car was on its side. The sunroof was kicked out at that point, so he might have exited through the sunroof.
His wrecked car in a ravine, both airbags deployed, Daniel's cell phone, clothes he was wearing that day, and a case of water all found at the crash site. But not Daniel. People don't just disappear into thin air.
True.
Does that sort of feel like what's happened here?
Yes. Yeah, it's very, very challenging case.
No matter how much the family asks for this to be a criminal investigation, can you make that happen?
We can't make up evidence. Absolutely suspicious circumstances related to the case.
Frustrated and heartbroken, Robinson hired a private investigator. Where are we going?
Down here is where the vehicle was recovered from.
Is that the glass from the car?
Yes.
When you looked at this accident, what are the discrepancies that you noticed right away?
I believe it was in more than one collision.
What does the data from the black box of the car tell you?
That there was 11 additional miles on the vehicle since the airbags came out.
What does that tell you?
That tells me it was crashed somewhere else.
Does that sound suspicious? What explains that?
Well, we had the national expert that came in and provided us his findings, and then they ended up speaking to an expert at Jeep, and the expert says, yes, sometimes that happens, and it's not unusual.
But the data also shows someone tried to start the car 46 times after the crash.
That's something we can't explain.
It begs the question, again, the family is saying it's criminal. It's got to be, he's in danger. Do something.
Right. Right. No, I agree. But we need information. We need evidence.
He's got a lot of theories. His words, I think, were, I don't think they cared. What do you say to that?
Can be furthest from the truth.
Losing hope, Robinson began pleading for media coverage.
It literally took 3 months.
While Robinson searched for his son, the country became riveted by media coverage of another missing persons case, the case of Gabby Petito.
In my situation, people think I love our children less or something, or they're less important.
In 2020, more than 543,000 missing persons records were filed. More than 480,000 were cleared. And 40% of the missing are people of color.
There are a lot of Gabby Petitos and Natalie Holloways in the Black and brown community.
That's why former police officer Derica Wilson co-founded Black and Missing Inc. and says too often their cases go untold. Eventually, local stations did stories and citizens began helping search. Did you know Daniel?
No, I just wanted to help.
You're just helping out a stranger on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Why?
You know what? I can't imagine what that man's going through.
As the search for Daniel goes into its 5th month, another family is in the midst of a terrible mystery for a 5th year. The family of Nikki and Ariana Fitz.
Ariana is very energetic, very happy.
2-year-old Ariana went missing under the most suspicious of circumstances in the San Francisco Bay Area in 2016. Her mother, Nikki Fitz, was found in a shallow grave in San Francisco's McLaren Park, but Ariana was gone.
It breaks my heart that Ariana's not with her mom and Ariana's not with her family, but it also breaks my heart even more is that I know that Nikki wants nothing more than Ariana to be with us, to be home.
Tessa Fitz says she is convinced her niece Ariana was taken by people close to Ariana's mother. San Francisco police searched for weeks. They had some leads, but no arrests. A digitally altered photo was made of what she may look like now.
And she's 8 now. I don't want to see this in a picture. I want to see her face in person.
Should Ariana Fitz be a household name like JonBenet Ramsey?
Absolutely. Why is her case any different from Kaylee Anthony? I can tell you, the color of their skin is the only difference.
For 5 desperate years, the family has continued searching using flyers, social media, and Black and Missing Inc.
Do you think it has anything to do with color?
I try not to put myself in the mindset of the race issue with her media coverage. All I want is for there to be the media coverage for her. I think she deserves that.
The Fitz and the Robinsons want only one thing, with hugging their missing children once again.
Do you think that Ariana is still alive?
I do believe that Ariana is still alive, and it would mean everything to me to know where she is and to find her. I wait for that day every single day. I believe that day will come.
How long will you search?
Till I find my son. I have to. I mean, he's my responsibility.
Sarah Seidner, CNN.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Please Help Find Daniel Q&A. I'm David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Cornelius Robinson, who went missing on June the 23rd of 2021. My son Daniel is a geologist. He worked for a company called Matrix New World. He came out for that job right after college to start his life out here in Phoenix, Arizona. And once he got to Phoenix, like I say, he started his job with Matrix New World. Some call it Matrix Southwest Groundwater as a field geologist. What he does, some call it also a hydrogeologist. And what he do is he go to different various well sites all over the state, where often he meet one representative of that well site who drilled that well site. And his job is to check the viability of the well, meaning that how much volume of water is coming from that well, this can sustain water for a community, for instance, over 100 years, at least 100 years, and also the type of rocks, sediments that's in the bottom of that well. So his job is very important to the community and to you guys drinking water. My son on that date of June 23rd, like I said, he was out to two well sites. He went to one that was located closer east of the one southeast of the one that the second one that he ended up going missing from. And then he ultimately came to the second well site where he met a gentleman there at the well site. Like I said, he always usually meet one person at that well site. And when he met this gentleman at the well site, the story was told that they were there for 10 minutes, had a brief conversation about the weather. And my son eventually waved off to him, got in his vehicle, and according to the gentleman who followed his tracks, said his tracks led to the remote part of the area of the desert, out west, further out in the desert where he was never seen again. Almost 30 days later, the vehicle showed up in this ravine, like that picture behind me. It was a 20-foot ravine, almost a little over 3 miles away from that work site. Like I say, farther in the remote area of that desert. And I come to that part there. Since then, his clothes was found. You can see right here behind me on the ground, a big pile of his clothing. And, of course, the police department gave their theory. Myself, I came here on June the 26th, 3 days after my son went missing. I made it here on the ground. I left South Carolina because on day one, these guys said they would search for my son by helicopter the next day, which would have been the 24th. And because they told me they weren't able to do it, I started packing my things really quickly, hopped in my car and started heading west. Like I said, I made it here on June 26th. And since then, I started my own investigation. The first thing I did was contact the Buckeye Police Department and also made contact with the man at the well. Since then, I've been conducting my own searches. I started searches that covered the well site, the radius of the well site based on my son's vehicle being driven out there in that desert. We try to go far as we can and close as we can. And so when the vehicle showed up almost 30 days later, I expanded my searches to cover not only the well site, but also that crash site. In the meantime, in those searches, before the vehicle showed up, we found some human remains. When the vehicles came into the scene, we found a human skull and some other human remains since then. Like I said, it's been over 26 weeks of searching that desert. That's not accounting the weeks that prior to this vehicle being found. We covered over 29,000 acres of land of searches since this vehicle was found, not including, again, the searches before the vehicle was found. So there's a lot of work being done out there. Like I said, I've been out here since looking for my son. Of course, you guys can look at this picture behind me. When I saw that vehicle like that the next day on the 19th the 20th of the 20th of July, when I got the picture for the first time. Of course, I looked at that and it wasn't the exact picture, but it was very devastating, to be that being explained to me as a father, that all my son's clothing, everything he's wearing. The officer even asked me what type of boxers, what kind of underwear he was wearing. And, like I would know that from a grown man. But, just telling me that whatever he's wearing underwear wise was on the ground also. That just took it all. I can understand people say a person have to look for a change of clothes, but when you change your clothes, you don't take your underwear off and your socks and discard that and then put a change of clothes on. So I don't see you changing everything out. So those type things, because of that, prompted me to say, hey, this is criminal. Something's going on. I mean, you can look at the scene, but this department doesn't see it this way to this date. They want to double down on the fact that my son is just simply missing. He crashed his vehicle. He decided to take everything off his body and to walk off in the desert naked, where he's supposedly come back and get his things. They turned over everything to me the day after that vehicle was found. And, I've been working on this case since. So thank you guys for coming in on this Q&A on the Sunday, March the 6th, 2022. I thank you guys for coming out and joining in with me. I have a big schedule on the day, so I'm trying to get this thing rolling. I really thank you guys. Like I said, I want to go through the comment section and thank you all, like Robert. Thank you so much for showing up. I really appreciate you for coming in. Thank you, Ms. Tanya Beth. Thank you so much for coming in this morning. Also, the Grizzly True Crime team. Thank you, Gisela, for Grizzly True Crime for coming in. Good morning to you. Donald Duck, thank you also for being here. I really appreciate your everything that you're doing every time you come in. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Gina, for being here. I really appreciate that. Blessings to you also. All right. And again, thank you, Robert Mullen. Thank you so much. If I get you twice, forgive me on that. Thank you, Gwen, for being here. And like I said, hit that like button, share, subscribe. Thank you so much for being here. That like, share, and subscribe. I know with the algorithms, that helps out a whole lot. So thank you so much for pointing that out. So if you're coming in late, again, I'm David Robinson, father of Geologist Daniel Robinson, and my son, he went missing on June the 23rd. I've been out here since June 26th looking for him, and I've been supported by people like yourselves who kept me in the fight for my son. So I'm really grateful for you guys. Thank you also, Christina Lynn, for being here. Thank you for your comments coming up. So again, if you have these questions and comments, please put the word question there first, and then put your question after the word question, and then I can go from there. And I thank you for doing that. That way I can go down the comment section and I can actually see your question. I will get back to that. More of a comment than a question. Please don't let them turn this into a race issue. Thank you so much for that comment. I've followed this case since I heard about it. Thank you so much, Christina, for your comment. Also, thank you, Tanya, for being here. Thank you for being here for me. Thank you. I need that support. Thank you so much. Thank you, Tara, for being here. Also, thank you for coming along. I also thank you again, profiling manipulation. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sending your prayers. I need all the prayers I can get. As you know, a lot of families that go through the same thing. We need prayers. We need prayers. We need support. And when you guys give us that, it helps us out a whole lot. And I'm grateful for every bit of it. It's very important. Prayers is a tool that God give us. And so I'm able to use that. And I'm really grateful. Thank you again, Gloria. Thank you, Lakeisha Douglas, again. Thank you, Brooklyn. Brooklyn's Finest. Thank you for being here this morning. I really thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you. I really appreciate it. From what you're planning to do here for me in the background, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Also, Lisa, okay, thank you so much for being here. I'm grateful that that you're here. And also thank you for your comment coming in for Facebook. Thank you, Francis, for being here. Thank you all for joining. So I'm going down the timeline to get you all in as much as I can. I have a question for Susan, but Susan, I'll get back to you on the question. I'll start with your question first, and I really appreciate that. Going down timeline to get these shout outs. Thank you, Jitterbug, J Star. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Terry for being here. Thank you, Vic. You have a question there, Vic. I'll get to your question too. Thank you guys for putting that first, the word question or Q first, and then that helps a whole lot because that way I can go down timeline and I see a lot of questions. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for that. Thank you also, Sunset Dragon, for your comment. I really appreciate that. Thank you for coming in. Now, again, my name is David Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm here doing a Q&A for everyone who's taking interest into my son's case. I have this for awareness, also to be able to give you guys information on upcoming events and things like that. So I'm grateful for your time here and for you helping me in this. Also, I want to, since I was bringing that up, the updates that are things that's happening. I want y'all to remember that we're having the candlelight visual that's coming up on the 12th. And if you guys can join in on that, I really appreciate that. What I do ask you to do is go on pleasehelpfinddaniel.com and also go on there to RSVP because, that way I can know how many people are showing up, and also be prepared with the candles and the ribbons and things like that. So they help me out. So if you guys can come on there, and please ignore the 3 person limit, because I've been trying to get that removed and I hadn't had time to do it yet. So I apologize for that. I will have that removed. But you bring as many people as you can. Please bring as many people as you can, and I really appreciate it. Please show your support, and thank you for showing your support for everything I'm doing here. So it's a hard task, juggling a lot of hats around and doing a lot of things, but you guys make it easier for me by your support. So I'm really grateful for that. Now, to get back into the question area, thank you for your questions. I'm going down timeline, and I will start off again. I believe it was Susan. Just Susan, I'll make sure that you're the first one. I did say I will come back and get the question I seen first, and go down the question or the comment section with those. So thank you so much for your question. I think it was the first one, Susan. So I'm gonna put this up here. All right, thank you, Susan, JTF. And if I miss your question by accident, please post it again, and I will get to it. Since socks are bought in bags of 3s, and Daniel, I would assume carried supplies with him. Is it possible the other sock found on the original well could have fell from his car from earlier time? Is it also possible that the rancher is mistaken? Well, Susan, I don't know. Yeah, it's possible. Anything is possible at this point. We don't know exactly what happened, but we're going to go by available evidence of things that we do know. We do know that a testimony from the rancher says that he was there 2 to 3 days prior, and the vehicle wasn't there. And then when he found the vehicle, it was there. We do know that the Buckeye Police Department collected those items at the scene on the 19th, right here. As all those things you see out there, they collected that on the 19th. When we do know that weeks after that, my investigator was at one of my searches and found that sock, and that sock appeared. It do match the sock in the evidence bag. So those are evidence that we do know. All the other stuff is speculations. I really wouldn't have answers to that one. With that one, in terms of the socks are being bought in 3s. I don't know how you bought the socks. Things like that. Those are just speculated. We just only can guess on those. So I don't know. I don't have any evidence of that. From his home or anything that would say about those socks. And also with the him carrying supplies with him, we don't have any evidence or any change of clothes or anything like that. So those are things that's guesstimations, or we can come with theories. However, we only can go by the facts that we do have at the time. So yes, it's possible. Like I said again, anything's possible, and you always try to look at every avenue of the case. Saying everything. Saying consider everything, even consider what you're saying there. So, but as it stands right now, we don't have any evidence of that. So thank you so much from Facebook, Susan. Thank you for your support and coming in and giving me the question. All right, I have the next question here again from Susan. How much gasoline was in the tank when it was found? I do not know the answer to that. In fact, that's not something that was given to me by my former investigator. I'm still waiting on some answers to things like that. As in from the Buckeye Police Department, I don't see anything, on their report that would suggest any of that. I can tell you that with the gasoline and things like that, I'll tell you for myself, my point of view is that I haven't seen that vehicle but twice. Once when the Buckeye Police Department showed it to me, and once when my former investigator showed it to me at a location that I cannot disclose. And that's the only 2 times I've seen it. I've been very careful not to be near that vehicle and things like that. So to look at the gas meter and things like that, I couldn't give you the answer to that because I do not know. I don't know everything that's in the contents that was in the vehicle other than what I was told and the pictures that was provided to me. So that's the only thing I can go by at this moment. You can understand from chain of custody, I have to be really careful being a father, getting close to any evidence like that. So even though I have possession of it, I stay away from it. So thank you so much for that question. And again, thank you for coming on Facebook and with your question. I really appreciate that. Also, Victoria, thank you so much for joining in from YouTube. You have a question in here. Say, will the candlelight visual be live streamed for those who can't make it? That's the goal. That's the goal I'm working on right now. I do have various options I'm working out. I do have a few people that want to help with the live stream, and definitely one with the Grizzly True Crimes, which we also be trying to help in that endeavor. So I do have that. I do have folks that will be taking pictures and things like that. So all that's in the workings, and most likely, yes. When I say yes, we have news crews there. Of course, they do their own their own streaming. When I say streaming, they actually do their own taping. A lot of times they don't share their entire footage with me. So the thing is, though, yeah, I'm going to do entire footages. I will have that, but live streaming, yes, I'm still working that out with folks in the background. So thank you so much for that question. I hope you can attend one way or the other, and I really appreciate you your interest in this case. Thank you. Also, I have a question again from Susan JTF. Question: the area that the car was found, was it in an open area where a fence had to be crossed or a gate? How did the car get into the rancher's area? And also, were there tire tracks? I missed the last live, but watched it, and those were some of the questions I saved from last week. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you guys. If you have those questions, please, you have some that you definitely had from the prior week. Yeah, those are helpful too. So thank you for that. So if you can save them like she did, like Susan did, that is helpful too. Because sometimes I end up missing, then I run out of time. So very helpful. You got them. You come on in. Please share those questions. Also, the question is again to answer that question. Yes, there is a gate that leads from that's between the area where my son was last seen to where this vehicle ultimately rests. Yeah, that's a gate there. You literally have to even access that area, unless there's ways around that, but it's very difficult for the type of vehicle. For my son, he would have to go across the Hansappa River. He would have to go first across the Wagner Wash, the Hansappa River area, just to get into the area where his vehicle was ultimately found. My son, mind you, that vehicle, I believe now is a 2-wheel drive. It's not it could be a 4x4, but it's not. It's have a hard time getting in that kind of terrain. So I would check into that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I found out, yeah, it's out of 2-wheel 4, but I believe it's more likely 4-wheel drive. But still, it's very difficult to try to get through the Wagner Wash. And I mean, I wouldn't see why he would do that to go through the Hansappa River, especially around that time of year. That ground is soft because water is flowing a little bit. The water wasn't really high levels of water going through that river, but those washes, but it was enough to saturate that ground where a vehicle of his weight would sink down and he'd get bogged down and get stuck. So I wouldn't see him being able to do that. So the only option that would have been exactly what that last guy that saw him would have said, that yeah, he had to go through that way to go west. And I want people to understand you go south for about a mile, then you have, it's a T junction you come to, you have to go left or right. And he, according to that guy at the well, my son went right instead of left. We'll go back to Sun Valley Parkway, and when he went left, that little trail leads to a gate, and there's ways to go around that gate, like I said, but you're going through a lot of brush and you're going down a lot of ravines and everything else just to try to even make it. And that's something I couldn't even do it with a razor. So yes, of course, that means my son had to get out his vehicle, open that gate up, go in there, and there's a gate to say close it. He had to shut the gate and drive another mile or so over to a mile or 2 miles, actually almost 2 miles to get to where this vehicle ended up resting. So yeah, there's a gate there to cross there to that point. That's an area that we actually use down in the area too. So anyway, how did the car get into the rancher's area? That's what we're trying to find out. You know, my investigator, my former investigator, felt that the vehicle was probably most likely could have been placed there. So I don't know how that vehicle got in the area, but it did. So we're still tracking on that as entire tracks. According to the Buckeye Police Department, they're claiming that there was no tracks. There was no footprints, but which is kind of stuns me. You know, they double talk. There's a lot of double talk in this case. They say, hey, his tracks were washed away because of the rain. The rain causes his footprints to be washed away, but yet their tracks are pulling that vehicle out of there. Still there to this date. And we had a whole tsunami on the rainy season come in, and those tracks are still there. So, you know, there's a lot of questions I have when people use those type of excuses of what happened with tracks, for instance. But anyway, thank you so much for that question. And thank you for, again, asking your question again after the last live. Also, I have a question here for Christina Lynn. How many miles is it between the first and second well site? It's a little over 3 miles from that first well site and the resting place right here, this vehicle. So it's not too far, It's not far where, you know, a person would say, the Buckeye Police Department say they did extensive. And the way they explained to me, they did a thorough extensive search, and they have not found my son's vehicle when they did, quote, at first search of that area when he went missing almost 3 days later when they did that search with the, they call it a Phoenix Firebird helicopter. And they haven't found it. They haven't found it when they did the, used the a week or almost 2 weeks later when they used the Civil Air Patrol unit to come in and do their one. And as a matter of fact, I'm gonna correct that with that report that you guys said they put, and that's falsifying records. These guys say they had used 2 aircrafts on that record, and I videotaped the whole thing. I sat there on the side of the road. They had one airplane, fixed wing airplane, and that one airplane did one flyover every, you know, area to go up northward. And that's the only thing that they did that day. So I hope they correct that police report, because that will come back to bite them, because I do have video footage of that day. And they did not have 2 aircrafts, they only had 1. So that's something you read in the report. That is Buckeye keep putting things in the report to cover themselves, and they're making a lot of mistakes by doing so. They forget that I told them on day 1 I record everything, and I keep records, I keep receipts, in other words. So they need to be careful with that. Anyway, yes, again, I want you guys to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. It's very important you do so. It keeps the algorithm going, help me get out farther into this social media sphere. Those that's on Facebook, please share and like. And those who on Twitter, do the same thing. I really appreciate you guys if you follow, follow this channel, follow Instagram, follow the Facebook. I really appreciate you guys, because that helped out a whole lot. Also, I have another question here from Terry C. Thank you, Terry C, for being here and for bringing your question. I really appreciate you for coming in on YouTube. Who does Ken, the well site guy, work for? He works for, oh man, now my mind's going blank. But yeah, he's worked for a separate company. I would think about that in a minute. And I can get that to you. But yes, it's a different company outside of Matrix, Southwest Groundwater, Matrix New World. If you have it, Weber is the company. So yeah, he worked for a company called Weber, and that's one of the company that I guess I'm assuming drilled that well itself, or if they didn't drill the well, they was maintaining it by, from what I understand, that well was capped some years ago. And I believe Weber probably came in to uncap it. So that's probably what he came there for. Of course, they had to use they blowtorch and things like that, I guess, to open it up. So that well was shut for many, many, many years. And they went to go in that well, I guess, to see if it's any good for the community. I'm assuming it's not, because currently in that area, they're supposed to be building the super city, I guess, some type of city they're building there. And they're using they're drilling in a new well not too far from that original well site. So, that's probably some of the reason that well is probably no good. Anyway, thank you so much for your question, Terry C. I really appreciate you coming in with that. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. For those who are just coming in, thank you for joining me on this Q&A. This Q&A is designed to help you guys get answers to questions you may have about my son's case. You've been showing a lot of interest, and I really am grateful for everything you guys have done from day one. I thank you for your prayers, Leslie. But thank you so much, y'all, for that being a part of this whole venture or this whole road that I've been going on to search for my son. So you guys been very inspirational for me and my family, and also it helped me keep going. Helped me be here, of course, to be keep my foot on the ground, boots on the ground, to search for my son. It's important. I'm sure if you guys can put yourself in my shoes, you can understand how important it is, and how much you would fight for your loved one. You have to. He's my son. I have to fight for him. That's my job and my duty. I love my son, and so you guys helped me. I couldn't do it without you, and I'm really grateful. Thank you again for your prayers, Leslie. So we have a follow-up question from Susie JTF. Follow-up question: Were the matching socks from the residents counted to determine if the sock was part of a pair he was wearing? I cannot give you that information right there. That's part of some of the investigational stuff. But I can tell you the sock that was found out there, out there close to the well site, was a match to a sock that was found inside the evidence bag. So that's something I can tell you, and I really appreciate your question about that sock. And yes, I can tell you from what we investigated, that sock do belong to everything that was found in the evidence bag. So thank you so much again for your follow-up question, and thank you for being here off of Facebook. Again, I'm Dave Robinson, father of Geologist Daniel Robinson, doing a Q&A. And ask you guys, if you want to ask a question, to please put in the word Q, or the letter Q, or put the word question before your question. That way, when I go down the comment section, I can see it, and hopefully won't miss any. So that's just one of the things that is very important if you guys can do for me. Again, I want to also highlight that I do have the anonymous tip line up here behind me, and also on the bottom of the screen for those who may have any type of tip that would lead to my son being found and brought home back to my family, to myself and my family. If you guys know anything, heard anything, know anybody who may have known or heard anything, you can call this number. It's 24 hours, 7 days a week, live operator that will take your call. You can remain anonymous if you like. But if you don't want to talk to anybody, you can text the word tip to this number, and you can still stay anonymous. So also, if you do call, or if you text the word tip, you can also contact me through that form. If you want to have any correspondence with me, you can stay anonymous in doing so. I wouldn't know who you are, but I can correspond with you. However, I do ask you please not to use the tip line for your suggestions and things like that, how you think I should handle the case or what I should do next. That is not for the tip line. Is not for that. Is for to bring my son back. If you have information that will bring my son back home to me and my family, I really appreciate that. If you have any of those type comments, you can call this number here or text the number below. That number is another cell phone of mine. It's a public cell phone that I have, and you guys can leave your messages there, your text messages, your phone calls, and things like that. And I get to it as fast as I can. You imagine I get a lot of influx of that on that cell phone, a lot of text messages, but I get to it as fast as I can, and I can answer your questions or take your advice and things like that from there. And I really enjoy those who call in that number or text that number with your well wishes and things like that, because that's a very good motivational thing for me. Also, please help find Daniel.com. You all can go to the website where you can learn how you can sign a petition. The petition is there to put pressure on that police department to do a lot more. And also, when I get finished doing the forensics work and everything that is should have been done on day one on the vehicle, the clothing, and everything of my son relating to his disappearance, that will give me the backing of the people when I turn that into the Attorney General's office and people alike. So I have my case together and everything put together in a big packet, and you guys, your help by signing that petition is very important. Also, if you want to help by by donating. You can. There's also the GoFundMe there. You guys can donate and help me, because that helps me. Like I said, to make these banners, to going out to the fight in the desert, the supplies that I need out there, and also keep me here in Arizona to stand on ground zero to fight for my son. It helps with the like I said, the flyers and everything else. Everything is a whole operational aspects of this of his searching for my son for this month, for 8 months now. So I'm really grateful for that. You guys helping on that. Also, you can find on the website ways you can help by coming out to search and come out to help. Search. We have the searches. I have the special ops searches that are done. I just call them just the desert search, but I changed that up. I had to streamline my searches based on the availability of resources. I had to be real careful with resources to keep me here longer. I don't know how long my son would be missing, so I try to utilize the resources the best way I can to be able to stay here as long as I can for my son. So I guess you guys, you want to come out and help search and things like that. I search every weekend. Every weekend out there, we have a search out there for my son. It's a very vast area. Like I said, we did over 19,000 acres of since the vehicle was found of searching, and we still have areas that need to be searched out there. People ask why it takes so long, because we're searching. At this point, it was a rescue mission at the beginning when my son, before the vehicle was found, even after the vehicle was found, it was a rescue mission for a while. But you can imagine after 8 months, it's no longer a rescue mission out there; it's a recovery. And so I had to treat it that way. We found human remains out there because we're doing what we call line searches and hasty search. And those searches, we're finding those things. We even found them with utilizing UTV, ATV type vehicles that can go out farther in areas that it's very difficult to get people on foot or with cars that cannot handle that terrain. So it's very important to have all of that, running simultaneously, because we are finding things out there. And like I say, if my son so happened to be there, it's a recovery mission, and I have to recover him and bring him home. Just like we do in the military, we don't leave a fallen comrade. We don't leave anybody behind. I would not leave my son behind. And so I'm grateful for you guys out there working hard. The volunteers work very hard. We're like family. We come out there, we are family. So you guys come out there, just that we're a big team of family out there, and we work very hard. And I'm really grateful for my extended family for being there on that line with me, boots on the ground. So also I have a city, what I call city distribution. You just call it city search. Started off city search because I was taking flyers and searching all the homeless populations and things like that, the hospitals, and also those passing out flyers to these places, facilities, and try to mainly the homeless population, because we don't know what happened here. So as a father, I have to not just be biased. I am biased because I'm a father. I have to be. I know my son. However, at the same time, I have to open my mind and consider every option. So every option considering, I also had to start the city searches to the possibility that my son could be out there somewhere, to spread the word and things like that. So it's changed from city search to flyer distribution, is because we distribute those flyers out in the city. People come along and grab stacks of flyers and take it back to their hometown. And my goal is to reach every city here in Arizona and even abroad. I have people now, one family that I'm sending out flyers to in Brooklyn, New York, who will be distributing out there. So again, if you guys want to help in that way, that's other ways. You go on the tab. It's 2 tabs. You can volunteer to search physically. Come out here. For you guys that can't come to the searches and want to help in any kind of other way, please go to other ways you can help. There's a form there so you can tell us your skill sets, me and my team, and that way we can properly assign you to things that we definitely need out there. We need a lot of help. Those things are bigger than me and my family. And also Daniel would like that. He would love what we're doing in the background also, to try to gear up to help other families, and also to make sure I find my son. So that's the ultimate goal for me, is to find my son, his whereabouts. So I thank you guys for helping in that endeavor with the website. Also, the current event. You do know that I have a candlelight vigil that's coming up on March the 12th, and I need you guys, if you can, please come out to that. I need the numbers. The numbers is a statement. is a statement all by itself. Yes, I would try to make sure I have a live streaming for those who just can't make it. However, at the same time, if you can in any kind of way, please, especially if you're here in Arizona, even the neighboring states like California, please come out if you can. Like I say, the more number that we have, the bigger number we have, the bigger statement that we're making. So this is happening to a lot of family. Daniel is considered America's son. He's not just my son, but he's America's son because he represents things that happen here in the United States where stories go unheard or we don't get the resources. Here I am. I shouldn't be a father out here for 8 months putting in the work. You don't see any forensics work on this vehicle. You don't see any forensic tab. That comes from the Buckeye Police Department. That's their picture. You don't see any forensic tabs on the ground and they're doing the forensics work. Because they told me they haven't done any forensic work on the scene. So, I have to do it myself. And I shouldn't have to have done that. I should have to do this right now. But that's things like that I have to do for myself. So, it's a statement. It's a statement of what happens to a lot of families out there. Some families are overwhelmed and may have stopped, but I'm not stopping. So I'm a father that's really going to push. This is my child. He's my son. And, I'm a different guy that just ran into the wrong guy who's going to do everything I can and fight for my son. So I need the backing of you guys, and you guys can help me. I really appreciate it, and I'm always grateful. So I'm going to go back to the questions. I think I'm going to go down the timeline to find more. So again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. For those who are just joining in, thank you for joining in. If you can, please hit the like button to subscribe. And I'm still trying to learn this YouTube thing, but all the things you do on for YouTube to help the algorithm to give me more exposure out there and to be able to spread the word a lot farther. So if you guys can do that, I really appreciate that. That'll help me in my goal is to also answer questions for you guys. That's why I had a Q&A. But at the same time, I want to bring awareness to my son's case, and I want to get the word out and also give you current events and things that I'm doing. So thank you so much. All right, I have one from Robert. Thank you, Robert McMullen, for your question for YouTube. Any information discovered from yesterday's search? Well, no information, but I was able to remove a tire that was obstructing my ability to get it searched. So we have that tire pulled back so we can get down in a well that I'm definitely needing to be checked. There's a lot of water down there. It's at least I want to get this right. I think it was 200 feet deep. And some water down there. So, of course, we need to get the cameras down in that water, get cameras down in that well. It's a bit wide one. I mean, it's really wide. I see why they put that big tire there. It's really wide. It's a lot wider than a lot of the other ones that I've seen. And yeah, it's very wide and very deep. You can't see the bottom too well. You can't see the flash of the water down there. But, yeah, it's very deep. Also, we have those things checked. So they help. That's helped. I was able to also yesterday gather some evidence that was found during a weekday from one of the guys that I sent out there with his cadaver dog, and his search dog. So he was able to find some things for me, some things that I was able to collect or whatever yesterday. So I'm grateful for that. So yeah, some things, it was fruitful yesterday. We didn't have the turnout that I would like. It's very depressing for me. As y'all can understand, after 8 weeks of 8 months of searching, this whole thing for me and my family could be very hard. It's always hard every day, especially when I go out there to searches, and every day, every time we go out there and we're not finding anything, my son, I would rather not find him out there like that. But if, at the same time, I want to bring him home, it's very hard. It's very hard at times, so I had a rough day yesterday mentally. It was very hard for me to even be out there yesterday, but, we made it through that. And I survived it, and I'm continuing on with the search. And I guess you guys, for the ones that did come out, and I want to say this right, we had a really low turnout, but the people that showed up, man, it's amazing people. We was able to do a line search of an area to close off an area that we had missed that was needed to be searched. So those people that worked really hard, like I was saying, and they're the regulars. A lot of regulars. We had like 2 or 3 new people that actually showed up. And they're amazing people. I just put it that way. Very amazing people, very dedicated, very hard workers. And I really appreciate each and every one of them. I love them to death. So they're out there working hard, like I said, and closing area that this theirs is huge. And that's what sometimes I look out there and you think you did it all, and then you look again and you miss something. You miss an area. It's big. It's a lot, and sometimes you have to go over areas twice. So, so it takes time. It takes time. So I'm really grateful for those who are helping. We need more help out there to get this thing done. But whatever we do have, the people that's dedicated, I'm really grateful for them because they're out there on that line, out there with their boots on the ground with me. And I'm always taken by that. Every time, when I get my low point and I see these smiling faces and the people give me a hug and they're out there with me. Mr. Robinson, I'm here with you. That helps a lot. That helps a whole lot. Thank you so much for those. All right, Susan again. JTF, thank you so much from coming in from Facebook. Okay, the question is a follow-up question. Was the gate latch dust for fingerprints to see who accessed that area? If the car went through the gate, by the way, I am a PI who specializes in missing persons. Now, that's the thing I wouldn't know. Buckeye didn't take this case seriously from day one. As you could tell, that's the reason why I had to hop in my vehicle and drive those miles to get here to Arizona. So I'm gonna say, hey, why didn't you jump on a flight? If somebody tell you they are not looking for your son, and that's all I can hear. Hey, we're not going out there because it wasn't authorized or whatever. I hear that in my brain all the time. I can tell you, I kind of lost it a little bit. I got him out, grabbed everything I could, threw it in my car, and started heading this way. Without thought. I didn't think about how much it's gonna cost me, how much anything's gonna be, whatever the case may be. I just needed to be here. Some say, hey, it wasn't logical. You just go hop in the plane, got that fast. That's true. I wasn't thinking any kind of way. I just need to be there for my son. So I wasn't here when my son was went missing, but I was trying to make it here. And I was leading up to this police department to do what they should have done on day one, taking it serious. These guys did their own small investigation, I guess, in the sense you call it, when I reported him missing. And they what they did was ask people questions about, and that's what you do. It's common sense. You ask people what they know, what they don't know, and things like that. But everything they heard so far, they didn't question anything. They didn't listen to me on the phone, constantly talking to them while I was traveling up here. My son, the question they asked me was, will he do anything like this? Just go on his own? No. This is unlikely. This is unusual for my son. This is something that Daniel would not do. He tells us everything. He tells us his travel plans. This is unusual. It's at nighttime. He's not from Arizona. He's a young man. And even hearing all of that, these guys stuck with what the coworkers had to say about my son. And to mind you, I want to tell you guys this, and you have to understand this. My son is a field geologist. He's they call hydrogeologist, all kind of names. Field geologist, hydrogeologist, and there's another one they use. But anyway, but meaning that he don't ever go in the office. Rarely. They'll tell you that. I have his coworkers, his boss, say they rarely see Daniel in the office. So how did they could say that he was acting odd and strange or whatever case? He wasn't even in the office. So all of that stuff, that Buckeye Police Department didn't even ask those questions. They was bent on to make it about one thing. And so being that, like I said, Susan, they decided not to do any forensics work. They wasn't looking for my son, anything happened to my son. They weren't thinking on that plane. They took it as this man drove his car in the desert because he wanted to be away from his family, join a monastery, become a monk, whatever theory they had in their brain. And that was it. He just drove off, and he's a grown man. That's literally what they told me when they said they weren't going to go search for him. He's a grown man, and he can disappear if he wants to. Man, who says that, So yeah, I had to hop in my car and leave. So I can imagine they did not do any fingerprinting on that gate or anything like that. So I can tell you that gate is touched many times. We go through there all the time. So I could see any viability coming off that gate handle and things like that, especially at this point of the case. So a lot of things wasn't done back then. And I do know the reasons why, in my opinions, the things I have gathered on my own investigation. So I have answers to those, but I can't tell you those wasn't done for anything. All right, next question from AKD J67. Thank you for your questions and coming in from YouTube. The question is, has the guy from the lost ones been helpful? Question: Okay, the lost ones. I'm not sure. Okay, the lost one. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. He's been pretty helpful. He's a really nice guy. If I understand, he's from Colorado. He offered his services, and I really appreciate him. He did find some things for me. Like I said, I was able to collect those items that he found with his dogs, and I'm really grateful. So with that, have said that, he's I guess back into his own state, but he's one of those people that come along and is very helpful. Like you guys, you come out and spend your time to help me in the search for my son. So I mean, I have people from all walks of life that come out to help. Some are helpful, and some everybody are helpful, but some in different areas in different ways. So I'm really grateful for his help and his expertise, or things that he said he can do, and he was able to, like I said, find some things for me, and so I took care of those things the proper way. He did find some remains out in another area that, and I told him he needed to turn that over to that department, the Buckeye Police Department, because that's what we do. I do not gather, I do not collect remains or anything like that. We take pictures of it. I have it set up on my website. Just take the pictures of it. We have a guy at GPS that my logistics coordinator slash search coordinator uses with the volunteers. But ultimately, like I said, it's easier for me. Like I tell him, just go ahead and take the picture from the website, because I know it goes exactly to the Buckeye Police Department, and they get a copy of it. They know where it's located. I get a copy of it. I know where it's located, and also my private investigator get a copy. He knows where it's located. So what end up happening is those things be collected, and we'll know. But we don't pick them up. We don't carry them with us. And I do tell the volunteers, do not ever touch anything. Especially human remains. Now, cell phones, things like that, yeah, there's some things I have collected. Those are like lost, finders keepers, losers weepers type deals, but it's also helping me to find out if those things are related to my son's disappearance. So I'll get those over to my investigator, and we can go forward with that. So thank you so much for your question. All right, I have a question from Lakeisha. Thank you, Lakeisha, for all your hard work. Man, I smile because I don't know if you get angry with me with this, but one of the hard workers out here for the searches out there also to get these information out, the flyers and things like that. So I'm really grateful for all your hard work. Do you have a time frame for releasing your family's timeline? I've been working on that for so long, and it's every time I think I'm finished one section of it, I had to add something else to it, and it's a lot. Keisha. So yeah, still working on that and get that out, because I do want to have it pinned up against what the Buckeye Police Department's report is also. But mine, I want to make sure I include, do it in a way that is including audio recordings and things like that to back up, like a receipt, back up what I'm saying by facts and not by something just to cover myself. My opinion is what I see in that report. Let's give everybody a proper timeline of everything that happened, what I have been doing since I've been here, the discoveries and things like that I can put out and stuff like that. This is going to be mainly that type of deal. So thank you so much for that question, Keisha. I'm getting ready to try to get out as soon as I can. But like I say, I had to often keep on moving on. I don't have time a lot of times, so I do a little bit at a time, and it's taking me some time to actually get it done. So thank you for the question. All right, Leslie Beats, thank you also for your question. Will you be able to get Daniel's SIM card, memory card back in your possession from Buckeye Police Department? I don't know what they have. All I know is Detective Biffin. Man, I'm going to tell you that the SIM card is still there. The SIM card hasn't been touched. SIM card is still in the phone, and I'm assuming it's the same exact SIM card. But I was able to, thank God for T-Mobile, had to change over. Because I think it was T-Mobile Sprint, and he had a Sprint SIM card, and they had to change it over to the T-Mobile. I guess that's what it is. But I can say that Buckeye detective told me he cloned the phone, which I think is against the law. Cloning without a warrant, and also that violate my son's his constitutional right. They didn't have any right to do that, and also didn't get permission from me or my family or Daniel to do so. But they did say they cloned the phone. And but SIM card is there, and the detective did mention that after he put it, he had the phone in his possession ever since the scene here. Put the phone in his pocket. He had it, and he don't know why the memory card is missing. The memory card is missing out that phone. I had the phone is missing. Don't know what that memory card would have contained. But according to that detective, he said he didn't, don't know anything about that memory card. So I'm assuming, I hate to assume, but I'm assuming that he don't know anything about it or he don't have it. So I cannot get something they don't have, Buckeye Police Department don't have. So I don't know. If they have it, yeah, I would like it back. It belongs to my son, and I would like to have that back. So I will ask those kind of questions again to double down on it to make sure. But as it stands right now, I don't know if they have it. So I can't say I can get it back, something I don't know if they have. So thank you for the question, Leslie. All right, next question from Elaine. Oh, thank you, Elaine. I think it's the same Elaine that works with us, and I thank you for your hard work keeping the line searches together and everything like that. Because and I hope I'm gonna have the right Elaine. If not, please forgive me. But I do have an Elaine that comes out to the searches, and she does really good. We have her dog Eggsy, who is a very good too. He's our mascot, so definitely grateful to have them out there. I think I heard that the coworker said Daniel left early and upset from the job site. Is it true? I didn't hear anything like that. No, we didn't have anything said my son was angry or anything like that. Only thing I heard from that guy at the well site is that Daniel wanted to go home. He wanted to end his day. Mind you, if Buckeye would have done their due diligence and they would have went to Google like I have, they would have found, and I would put this out, they would have found that my son was working that night. According to Google, it showed that he was doing some movement a lot that night before he went missing. And so he was tired. If you work a hard job, my son do Instacart. And if you do a hard work, and I'm still working on Instacart right now to get that information, but you do a hard job, you work, and extra, you'll be tired too. And he's seeing it's raining, it's about to rain, and my son had the ability to shut the site down for that day. You asked the question too, hey, you want to go ahead and leave? Let's go ahead back to Phoenix, whatever the case may be. That's a reasonable question. I don't see him being upset or anything like that. He's tired. He want to go home and go rest. Hey, let's just get out of here. This is one of the days I just came from this other well site. I'm a little tired today. I want to go home and go get some sleep. So if they would have did a little due diligence, a little work, they would have had the answer to that questions that they put out there on their report and things they say out there to give my son an appearance that's not true about him. So for that answer there, no, I don't have any indication that my son was upset about anything. Just wanted to go get some rest. So thank you, Elaine, for the question. I have another question here from Donald Duck. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm doing a Q&A for everybody who have questions. If I miss your question, please forgive me. The easy way to have your questions answered is to put the word question first, like Donald Duck did here, and then answer your question. That way I can actually see it as I'm going down timeline, because that's what I'm looking for. Everything else is, everybody talking amongst the chat line. And I really appreciate you guys sticking in there and have a conversation. Some of them I can pick up and post also or answer or comment on those also. So thank you so much for those. Okay, the question is, in Daniel's car, was there any evidence found that Daniel was injured, such as blood stains or anything on the airbag or broken glass? Now, I can say that the Buckeye Police Department said on the scene here, they didn't do any forensics work because they didn't see any blood in the vehicle. Because I asked that, they say, hey, no blood was in the vehicle. That's what they told me initially anyway. But in this meeting, I asked again, was there any blood anywhere in the vehicle? They said no. They didn't see with their eyes any vehicle, any blood in that vehicle. Because I asked them after that, the follow-up is how you know there was no blood in the vehicle. Because I'm not an expert, and I'm definitely not a detective, by trade or anything like that, or skill. But I do know that they have a certain type of lighting or some type of chemical, or whatever the case may be, that is used when they do investigations like that to see if there's any blood, trace blood, or anything that's being wiped up, or whatever the case may be, cleaned off, whatever. And they said they didn't do that, of course. They didn't see any blood. How you know my son was in there? Oh, we know. We didn't see any blood. How you know he was even driving the vehicle was one of the questions I asked, because they say, hey, it's his vehicle. He had to be driving. That's the kind of answers I got from them. I don't know if they've been sarcastic, smart mouth, or what, but those are the kind of answers they gave me in that meeting. As in any other evidence found, as in blood or blood stains, no, I don't know any, but that's the reason why I'm asking you guys to help me. I'm trying to get this forensics work done on this vehicle. That's why we had people like John Q, Unu, and T. Sophia, and Renegade, and some of the other ones, Gizzle K from Grizzly True Crime, they all was pushing. And if I missed anybody, please forgive me, pushing to help get some funding up so I can get this forensic work done. So the goal is now to the cell phone is being done first, and kind of work my way back to getting all this forensic work done so I can get these answers, because like I said, the vehicle had to be processed for blood, trace blood. The airbags, I have those. They had to be processed to see if anybody's DNA other than Daniel's there. His clothing had to be processed to see if any blood was taken away, or any detergent was in the clothes indicated as being washed away or something, or even the airbags. If he was in that car when the airbag deployed, if any chemicals from the airbag is in his clothing. So that type of stuff like that need to be checked, and that's the things I'm looking into. And thank you, Keisha. I see you said the smart city. That's exactly what they're building out there, is a smart city in that area. So of course they want me out of there. And I will get those checked down. Thank you for your question. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, father of Geologist Daniel Robinson. I'm doing a Q&A for those who have interest in my son's case and have questions. Terry C. have a question. I had to come down and I ask you guys, if you have questions today, I had to cut it short. I'm going to church, and I just thought about time here. Getting down to a point where I have to cut it short. And if you have any questions I missed them, please forgive me. And I will do everything I can on the next Q&A, which will be tomorrow morning. If you have those same questions, please bring them back again. And you can ask them then or any other day this week, because I have more Q&As coming up this week. If you can save those questions for me, the next Q&A will be tomorrow morning at 6:30 as normal. That'll be 8:30 in the East Coast for those who are out in the East, and I think it's 5:30 in the morning. Sorry for California folks, but 5:30 in the morning for you guys out in California. For those who come out from California, I see some people out there on the chat, from California, who coming out 5:30 in the morning to hear the Q&A. Thank you so much for doing so. I know it's hard and strenuous. If you guys miss it, you can also watch it later, but it's strenuous that early morning. But I try to put it in the middle somehow for those in the morning. At the same time, it gives me a time to do this early, because my days are busy. Once I get up and I hit the ground running, and I don't have time until sometimes 4 in the morning before I can get settled back down again. So the question is, I have another question here from Terry, and let's see here. Was Daniel gathering data that was being used to determine 200-year water guarantee for Douglas Ranch? I thought it was 100 years. I never heard of the 200-year deal, but I thought it was 100 years. If it's 200 years, that's even more so. But that's definitely, I think, what Matrix New World, their job is, to go in there, and that's my son's job, to find out about this water deal. So yes, that's part of the what's going on out there in that area, and also the well that he went to prior to that. So yes, that's part of what he does as for his job as a field geologist, hydrogeologist. So that's part of his job. So yes, thank you for that question, Terry. And thank you again for your support and your continuous support, because I see you on here a lot, and I really appreciate you. Thanks so much. I have one from Brooklyn's Finest. Brooklyn's Finest. Was DNA taken from all of the personal contents found outside Daniel's vehicle, clothing, phone, etc.? As far as I know, and everything I do know about this case, no. Only thing that was done, what could have been taken, is I requested a couple of days after they turned the vehicle over to me on the 20th. They turned the vehicle over to me. I requested that I was in that meeting. I was upset with the Buckeye Police Department for not doing any forensic work on anything, clothing or nothing on my son. They gave everything over to me in the evidence bag. Didn't do any forensic work at all. and I demanded fingerprinting at least. Do some fingerprinting. I want to see if anybody else was in my son's vehicle. They agreed to do so. That's why you can see it in the report. It's not something the Buckeyes did on their own. I requested that. So if you see that in the report, of course they're gonna write it as if they did the good boys and they was doing that on their own. No, I requested that. It was a request under my request. And they did some fingerprinting, but they have yet to this date tell me anything about what they found or didn't find with that fingerprinting. So that's the way they treat family members who have a missing person. They keep things internally, don't even talk to me or do anything. So they wonder why I'm out here, speaking about it. So those are things that haven't been done on that vehicle, and they should be done. That's the same thing what you're asking is what I'm doing myself, to make sure it get done because it had to be done. My son is out; he's missing 8 months now, and they still don't see a need to check these items. Some things are a little too late. They didn't do things on day one, and that's a problem. They hurt my son's case. They hurt the whole case. They hurt the whole everything evidence-wise. That department did it. I blame them. I blame them for a lot of things. I blame them for not taking my son's case seriously from day one. That caused me to be out here 8 months later still looking for him. So no, nothing was done forensics-wise from that department. So thank you for your question. Also, I have a question from Patricia Ross. Thank you so much for coming on and being a part of my Q&A. And I really appreciate you coming in. How long are the searches able to go on since there is new developments are going in? New developments are coming in. I'm sure what you're saying. Passing out flyers in Surprise, El Mirage, and Peoria. Thank you, saying you're passing out flyers there in those areas. Thank you so much, Patricia. If you are, you need more flyers, you also can come to either the search, the specialized searches out there on Saturday mornings, or you can come out to the distribution on the evenings at 3:15 in Phoenix to grab those flyers. And also, if it's easier for me, I can mail those flyers out to you to pass out. So thank you if you're passing them out in those areas, Peoria and Surprise areas. I'm really grateful for that. Thank you so much for doing that. And thank you for your support and everything you've done. As in how long the searches are able to go on. Yeah, I have gotten things from the attorneys and developers of those lands last year. They told me they was going to be breaking ground this year in January, and that, they pretty much tell us we're going to have to get out the area. So I was pushing hard, and I got those areas searched thoroughly. Where they would be developing on that side near the well site where my son was last seen. And we searched the area, ground searches. We did 2 of them, the line searches and everything, and to make sure we go over it thoroughly before they start tearing that place up, pulling the ground and things like that. So I'm really confident, not fully, that we did the best we can in that area to search. And I'm going to stay as long as I can. Of course, yeah, they're trying to push us out, I'm sure. They don't want anybody out there. They're developing somebody out there recovering human remains. Because you imagine them putting a super city out there and trying to sell a property, and people find out that the human remains are out there on the ground. Who want to live there? So I'm sure they want us out of there. But it's important that I can stay as long as I can to see my son. See this thing through with my son. So I'm really fighting for that, and I'm continuing doing so. Thank you again. If y'all can hit that like, share, and subscribe button, I really appreciate it. And when you guys do that, it'll help the algorithm to get my word out a lot farther. And I really appreciate you guys if you do so. And I thank you for coming in on Q&A. I'll have to cut this shortly. I was supposed to be in church at 10, I think, or 10:30. I hope it's 10:30. I can get out this door and be there. And I want to thank you guys for all your questions and all your comments. Thank you again too. Thank you. I really appreciate that for you serving. Thank you for your comment. I really appreciate 12-step woman. I really appreciate that. I have a question here from Victoria again. Thank you, Victoria, for coming out and with your questions. And I really thank you for joining in through YouTube. Where is the most help needed? So you guys can continue to search. Well, the biggest help needed is funding right now. I had to make a choice out of, continuing the searches the way we really effectively can do it. we did narrow it down. And we, like I said yesterday, believe it or not, had low turnout, and we still effectively was able to do line searches. But you can imagine that I need more equipment and things like that to be able to maneuver around that desert out there, and to set myself up for the next searches. Right now, we're kind of fishing alone without those type of being able to do things that we normally do. But we're working it out. We're working it out. And so, like I said, the funding is very, very crucial. And also the help needed is with people like, anybody from every walk of life, bring in your skills. We invite the Buckeye Police Department. It's right there on the website. They always welcome to utilize their services and everything they can provide to help us in the search. And also with people who want to bring their drones to UTVs to whatever, everything you can to help. We definitely need the nonprofit organizations to come in to help with searches and things like that. So I'm grateful. Like the other man the other day volunteered. He didn't want anything. Volunteered his cadaver dogs, his search dogs. So things like that's helpful. So I need all of that, everything I can when it comes in terms of searches. So to continue to search, we're trying to we did over 19,000 acres. 19,000 acres out there since last year, since June, July last year. And we did a lot, but believe it or not, it's a lot more can be done. So yeah, I need that right now. If you guys can help in that endeavor. So thank you so much for the question, Victoria. I really appreciate that. I'm going downtown again. My name is Dave Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson, who went missing on June 23rd from his work site. I'm doing a Q&A for those who have questions. I'll try to get your question in if I don't get it today, because I had to cut this short. I'm going to church, and I will get to your questions tomorrow morning or anytime you come back again with your questions. I'll be doing it again tomorrow morning at 6:30 here in Arizona Mountain Time, and then also that'll be 8:30 Eastern Time and 5:30 Pacific Time. So you guys can come in and join in. I really appreciate it. I got one more question here from Donald Duck. Did Daniel have a phone backup to either Apple Cloud or Google storage to back up all his data? Those are the things I'm sending this phone off to some forensics expert who goes through all that stuff and be able to retrieve all of that. That's one thing, you guys, when you donate it, that's helping me to do is get the forensic work done. And that's one of the things that's getting done now. I'm getting ready to send that off to a forensics lab to have that phone analyzed for all of that. To pull off, I'm not I'm good at electronics and things like that. Of course, they are a lot better. And then they can do it in a way that it can be used later for evidence and stuff like that. So I'm definitely sending it off and having that sent off now to get done, and then working on things, as I go down, as I get the funding to do each item. The closing had to be done, like I said, the ones on scene search, the airbags had to be done separately, the vehicle had to be scrubbed and fight for fibers and everything else. It's going to take a while. It'll take a while, and it's going to take, of course, money. So we're going to have those things done. So Don, that's your question. Yes, I'm working on those to get those answers. So I do need those. Everything that's pulled from that phone, I need to get it. If somebody tampered with the phone, all that kind of stuff, I need all those answers and things like that, and try to get the reasons why. Again, my name is Dave Robinson, the father of geologist Daniel Robinson. Thank you all for coming in with your questions. If you have an anonymous tip, or if you have a tip at all, you just want to, have anything that what happened to my son or possibly happened, or you have any information that would lead to bring my son home, you can call this tip line that's operated 24 hours, 7 days a week to take your call. You can stay anonymous if you like. If you don't want to talk to anybody, you can just text the word tip to that number, and the form will come up. You can stay anonymous. You can also correspond with me through that tip line. But I would not answer through the tip line comments or suggestions and things like that. That is not what tip line is for. If you guys can have something that would actually lead to my son come home, that's what I look for on tip line. If you have those other things, suggestions and things like that, please utilize the 200 number that's down on the bottom of the screen, 803-200-7994. Utilize that number to send your text message, your comments. Even if you say, hey, Mr. Robinson, thank you for, whatever you want to say, to me. I really appreciate the love that comes through those text messages and the phone calls. And if you want to reach out to me, you can use that number for that. That's a public cell phone that I use, and I'm really grateful for you guys if you was to utilize that for that. Again, you also how you can help. You can sign a petition. You can donate. You can come to the searches. You can be part of the events. You can also, other ways to search to help is to fill out the form that's on the other ways to help tab and to volunteer. And that would help us get a skill set that you can do and would want to do and things like that. And we can kind of go from there to show you other ways that you can help in searching for my son. So the website is very informational for you guys that want to know what happened with my son, or give you a little backdrop of the story. You can find the information there also. So please utilize, please help find Daniel.com for keeping up with when I'm having my searches to, like I say, events and things like that. So thank you so much for everybody for your support and everything you've been doing from this far. Also, we're having the candlelight visual that I ask you guys, please, if you can, bring as many people as you can. We're trying to build the numbers up. Numbers is important, especially in this case. The numbers are very important. The more people, the better. We need all the people we can to show up at this candlelight visual because it's about a presence. You know what I'm saying? Everybody standing together to fight for my son. You know what I'm saying? You all showing interest in this case, and I really appreciate that. For those who cannot make it, I'm working on the live stream. But if you can, please, by all means, if you can push it, please come out there because we need the numbers, like I said, to make that statement. And also to bring awareness to what happens to a lot of people like myself and my family. You know what I'm saying? My son is considered as American son, and I consider him that way also because he represents so much of what happens out there in America. So thanks so much, you all, for coming along. Thank you again for all the comments and the questions. I would love to answer some more questions, but again, like I said, I had to go to church, and I hope I'm late. I think she said 10:30, and I hope that's what it is. And if not, I'm going to be running late. But I do have to get out the door, and I really thank you guys for, like I say, joining in. And I would see you the next time. So please forgive me if you can't get your question in. Please come again with your questions. Like I said, tomorrow morning I'll be doing it at 6:30 in the morning, bright and early. If you come out then, it's so important. I'm really grateful for that. Please hit that share button, the like button, and also subscribe to the channel to help the algorithm help me get the word out. Thank you so much. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. God bless you.